All right. Well, then we'll just go. Welcome to Section 31, episode number 381. I'm Dan Hammond.
And I am Broke Schindler.
This week we've got some Discovery. We've got some Orville. We've got some 1E organized play updates. Was that just 1E or was it all of? I think it was all of organized play, right?
I believe so.
All right. We've got some updates for what's going on Saturday. Unfortunately, you're not going to be around for. Yeah, it's and we'll see if anything else comes up along the way. Sound like a plan?
Yes.
Excellent. All right. Hopefully I cut out some of the feedback that was happening there too. Good. All right. Then let's start off with Orville?
Orville? Yeah.
So I made the mistake of going online before I had watched the episode.
Ooh.
And saw some pretty not really poor reviews, but reviews that said, yeah, this is kind of a down episode. It's not as good. So I went into it, was like, all right, well, let's see what's going to happen here. Perhaps my lowered expectations put me in a state that's such that I had a good time. I thought it was a fun episode.
Now, are we talking about the most recent episode?
Oh,
I guess there was no episode the week before that. That's right.
Correct. Yes. So we must be.
Oh, but we have two discoveries. Okay. Yeah, I'm inclined to agree. I actually caught with the reviews, that is.
Yeah, I understand.
I caught like a glimpse of it somehow. I don't remember how, maybe on an ad on Hulu for something, but I was like, I saw Gordon in a modern setting and I was like, oh God. And it's about what I figured, some kind of holodeck episode. Yep. And, it's cool to see Tim Russ.
That was interesting.
And
well, I almost said his third appearance in Star Trek, but no. Almost.
Kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
I did like the B plot. I thought that was really entertaining.
Yes.
More Mocklin shenanigans.
That was really well played. And man, those two guys have amazing chemistry together.
Yeah, they do.
That's fantastic. The looks that they share, everything was fantastic. Spot on.
Really funny. So that was good. The main plot was predictable. I don't know. I feel like maybe Malloy's actor was like, "Hey, can I get some episodes?" And they're like, "Okay." But yeah, I don't know. Like, there's the one predictable bit was like the worst part where he's like, "Oh, I'll just go delete her boyfriend." Like, I think you took the wrong lesson from this conversation.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, yeah, she is who she is because of all the people that you met her, including the guy she doesn't want her to be with. But like, the thing they don't address is like, okay, he learned his lesson. He has to let her go and not date some girl on the holodeck. Except he doesn't learn his lesson. Like, she rejects him, and so she can't be with him, or he can't be with her. Like, what if she hadn't had her boyfriend come back and like was just like kept dating him, and he's just like fine with it and keeps going. Like, I don't feel like he actually had any actual character growth.
No, not really. He had a interesting relationship briefly, and then it went away, and he's pretty much the same as he was before. I can see that.
Yeah.
Apart from the character arc or lack thereof, I did find it an interesting kind of reflection of how much information we carry about ourselves on these. That you could take something that was obviously a heavily used item, lots of text, lots of messages, lots of emails, videos, etc., and construct someone's entire life. Yes. You know what? I would probably be the same. There's enough on here to get, all of, my hobbies in, my work schedule.
Clearly you were asking for the local wireless telecommunications facility, but for some reason abbreviated it as WTF.
That was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, I liked that was an interesting part of it. There was like sometimes I am reminded by this show that like you have to kind of turn your brain off when it comes to their tech aspects. It's not Star Trek. That's when it really shines to me that it's not Star Trek. Shines is probably not the right word, but I guess is like brought into sharp relief when they're like, oh, hey, look, there are all these messages and they're swiping and scrolling and like all of a sudden they know how all of this works, even though they don't know what a cell phone is. I'm like, okay, how do you know what all these interfaces do? And like, there's like the dichotomy of that kind of took me out of.
It's an iPhone. It's completely intuitive.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. I mean, what would happen if someone, from our time was given a punch card computer? Would they know the interface immediately? Would they be able to figure it out? Probably not. I think you're probably right.
Yeah.
But overall, since my expectations were low, I felt like I had a good time.
I enjoyed the ending. I liked him coming in, like grudgingly and doing the song. I kind of really wanted him to like finish his part of the duet as she continues playing the end of the song and him walk out before she gets a chance to say anything. I thought that would have been a better ending for him instead of them stopping and having awkward conversation. But I did almost at the end after they take their and I told Caitlin, and she actually noticed it as she walked by and saw the ending. I was like, that right there, single biggest anachronism that completely takes me out of the fact that she's supposed to be from 2015 when she asks her boyfriend to take the picture of them before he leaves. They 1000% would have taken a selfie.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, you're right.
But I really wanted them to loop that around and have Tim Russ look at the phone and find a picture of her with Gordon and then be like,
who's this random guy? Yeah. I thought it was a cute story. Again, another twist on the, holodiction,
Yeah.
so I thought it was fun. And as you said, the cigarette addiction was so well played. I mean, when he just take it and just popped in his mouth and started chewing up, it was like,
like, oh god,
wow.
And I like
50, and it was just this big. And
I
then
love him, the pillow.
just going around the apartment,
one.
the look each time. That was brilliantly played. So that was great.
And I liked the Mocklins have this hardy bioimmune system or whatever, like biologically they've been known, they can eat anything and they have like redundant systems. I was waiting for them to be like, oh no, this is having no effect on them whatsoever. And then like they have to deal with him like being okay to smoke.
Oh, that would have been interesting too. Yeah.
But no, I like that they were like, oh no, it's bad for you too. And also you are extremely susceptible to nicotine addiction. So they got that like, amped up, they got to tell it was probably a device so that they could tell the story of a true addiction, even though they had just done that. But I thought it was a really fun twist on, aliens being exposed to things like that. That was funny.
I saw something that said that we're not getting an episode for a while. Did you see that as well?
I did not. This is why I don't watch broadcast television.
Exactly. April 11th.
3 weeks.
Yeah. Sanctuary is the name of the episode, directed by Jonathan Frakes.
Yay.
So, that should be fun.
Yeah.
Is his episode of The Orville coming out the same week as his episode of Discovery? Because that would be weird.
Well, he just aired an episode of Discovery,
Okay.
but it sounds like he's doing several this season. So,
okay.
But yeah, I did notice that. I thought it was interesting, probably from a business model perspective, that Discovery did not have a season break this season.
Yeah.
even though it was very dramatic for them to have it in the first season.
Because I probably
You know,
would have canceled for a while if they had breaks,
exactly. And
right?
I'm pretty sure they probably, I've talked to several people who were kind of, less ardent fans, or they were like a little more casual fans. And they're like, yeah, I watched the first half. And then I was like, there was a break. So I canceled. Then I never got around to re-upping, to which, of course, the mirror universe side of me is like, no, that's the best half. But, I totally get it. It was kind of, until they tie it together in the second season, the first half was rough and they probably lost a lot of subscribers that way. So probably smart of them to not do that this season.
Yeah, like I said, I would have paused my subscription, and yet I have not. So, I see Discovery looks like it has episodes through April, through April 18th.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's straight through.
Yeah, so that's probably when I'll cancel my subscription.
But man, what a couple of bombshells.
Yeah, so we want to rewind to Project Daedalus.
Yes, because I really liked Arium, so I was really mad when they killed her.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the first time that I've sat and stared at the credits all the way through since I think at the end, maybe it was at the end of the first season that they played the original TOS when the Enterprise showed up.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. All right. So since then, I just click through, et cetera, et cetera. This time it was like just staring at the screen, watching the credits roll by, wondering what was going to happen.
Yeah.
But that was great. That was a great. I thought it was a pretty good build up. I don't feel like we didn't really have did we have an episode around her this season? She's just in a lot of them, right?
She was in a lot of them. Well, she's been in the background the whole time.
That's right, because of the whole alien probe thing.
Right.
She was doing the processing for that the whole time.
Yeah.
And then she got the 3 little red lights, and then so she's been around the whole time. It's not like it's a brand new character that only popped up for the episode and then got spaced. So that was pretty well done.
Yeah, and that makes me wonder, did they plan that? Did they know they were going to need some kind of character like that in advance? So they put her in the crew. That's that's a pretty deep, maybe they just knew they had that tool available this season. So they amped it up. I did like that they, cause she never interacts with anyone aside from the bridge. So it was like, oh, cool. She is a part of the crew. She's friends with people. And, it was interesting that she is not just as we've discussed, she's not an android. She was a cyborg. We found out why. And, still had kind of that personality rather than just a, blank slate android, which was cool. Just in time to
zoop. Yeah.
Spacer.
I'm trying to remember what else happened on that. We went to our headquarters.
Yes, clearly. Our headquarters, which was mined illegally. Fantastic.
Yeah, and cool. Dodging through the paths. Blowing up mines, and then calling out random maneuver patterns to try to throw off the AI that was attacking. That was interesting.
Yeah,
throwing around the bridge, having somebody else call it every time, so you didn't get a pattern. That was neat. I like the introduction of randomness.
Yeah, that was cool. I liked, that our pilot got to shine a little bit, which was cool through that. And the control hologram was a really interesting idea. Like, okay, this, the constant threat of the AI, Skynet, SpaceNet.
SpaceNet.
But I'm like, they're like, when the Admiral comes on, she's like, oh yeah, the Starfleet, captains have always relied on control. We feed them our data and we take the recommendations, but we always have to take it. And I'm like racking my brain for it. I have this vague recollection of like Kirk, asking the computer, this, if this were happening and that were happening, give me this result. And I'm like, did I make that up? Am I actually remembering that? That seems like something he would consult Spock with. I know they had an AI episode on TOS as well, but that was like a separate entity, not a specific part of the computer. So, it's interesting the way they, tying these things together. And I am even more confident now that this is going to have a significant effect on everybody's view of Section 31 and how it, our idea that something's going to happen this season that's going to significantly impact their influence either in reality or in perception, so
Sure.
that it becomes more like what we know in the TNG era.
Well, we still have the whole series. Do you think the series is going to be cloak and daggery or out overt? When's that turn going to be?
That's true. Well, maybe this is setting it up for the series,
Yeah.
and then it happens there. At some point, though. Yeah.
Is that it's going to be like a full series or just like a mini series? I don't know if you do mini series on digital downloads anymore.
I feel like I feel like they would have specified if it was going to be like a limited series.
Yeah.
But because they specifically said, "Oh, she's spinning off her own show." I think people would get pretty pissed if somebody said, "Oh yeah, they're getting your own show of 6 episodes that's never going to have any more."
Yeah, right. All right. Well, after Project Daedalus was the Red Angel, where we finally get the big reveal at the end, where we have to nearly kill Burnham, which was an interesting. The whole, including Burnham on all the discussions about how they're going to capture future Burnham, was a problem for me.
Temporally, yeah.
Because
especially when she keeps demanding, like, I should have a right to know all of this, because it's like, no, it's like the opposite of true. You're a scientist.
Yeah, exactly.
You know better.
That didn't follow. So the reveal that it wasn't actually Burnham, which doesn't. What happened to the pattern matching Burnham exactly?
Yeah, that's good. Well, does DNA not match exactly? That's where I got kind of fuzzy. I know there's been tropes before. I don't know if it's actually scientific,
right?
But parental DNA is
close enough as a match.
Close enough to match child DNA because it's half. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like, particularly since the doctor was like, "Oh, I would have noticed if it was like too perfect. There are tiny imperfections," and it was like, I felt like that was their, here's us dropping this in so that when it turns out to not be Burnham,
this is minor imperfections. All
like,
right.
oh, well, these were the imperfections. I did like that they did not, because they could have very easily red herringed that out for episode after episode, and like, what's Burnham going to do now, and now where is she, and then drop it like 3 episodes later and be like, oh really, you let this happen. So I liked that they did that. It was built it up for an episode, and then they had the reveal rather than leading us on like that.
All the predictions that I've seen, I never saw anyone call Burnham's mother because dead, but
right.
So is this Burnham's mother from a time before she died, or
maybe she didn't die?
Maybe she didn't die.
She was presumed dead.
Speaking of mothers, what happened to Amanda? Wasn't she going to go off and find Spock and figure out what this Red Angel thing is, and then just gave up?
Well, she found Spock. She was hiding him.
Right. But didn't she storm off at one point? Okay, was that before she found him?
Yes, she. Okay. So before she found him, she went and connected with.
And then
Burnham,
she found him, and then
she got upset at her.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because she was upset. Okay, sorry. That ties up a loose end I was worried about there.
Yeah, but like, I guess, like, thinking about it, it's actually not bad that they're, even if they do know it's a trap, making Burnham in on the plans at least gives, if you are going to say, okay, she's going to remember everything that happens in this timeline, then she knows that she will die. Like, they're going to let her do that. This is like, and she'll know that she was determined to do this to, maybe she'll find some way out of the trap, but at least she has to show up.
Yeah, fair enough. And Spock was right there, says, I don't want you to die because I'll be convicted of killing a Starfleet, because he's the one who was holding everyone off at gunpoint. So that was a little interesting prediction there. I like that. I'm glad we don't have to wait a couple of weeks for the next episode.
Yes.
And for all we've got at the beginning of the season, episode after episode of, hey, Spock. Well, no, not really Spock. Hey, Red Angel. Yeah, not yet. Things seem to be moving pretty quickly all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So that's good. Looks like we've got 3 or 4 episodes left. 4 episodes left.
Yeah.
And no gaps. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah. And I'm looking forward to, I hope, if first season is any indication, we're going to come back around and say, okay, this is why this happened. And that is why I needed to go here. And these were all important puzzle pieces. And now we're going to tie it all together.
I hope they planned that far ahead.
Yeah.
I mean, it's only one season, but I hope they planned that far ahead. And, it'll be interesting.
Well, they did last season.
On April 18th, when we get the last episode of the season, find out who the new captain's going to be.
Oh, you think they're going to give us that?
I think we'll. Yeah, you think it'll be a half? We'll find out at the beginning of the next who the.
Yeah, or they'll cliffhanger it or something.
Sure.
Who is this guy? Oh,
yeah. Or I didn't expect to see you here. Drop. All right.
Yeah, captain on the bridge. And cut to the doors boots, not opening. Yeah, open the doors on the boots and then blackout.
All right. We've got another episode of Discovery to look forward to next week. It looks like we don't have any Orville to look forward to for a while. So we'll have to just go it up. And we got another month's worth. All right. Back to the card game. You told me you looked through all the changes to the organized play guide that was posted. Anything jump out at you?
That, in fact, is not what I said. Oh. I said I read the errata because it's been weeks since we had a show, and there was errata earlier this month, but that's like 3 weeks old for everybody now. So I actually I'm not familiar with the changes that were made, but I'm interested to see if it's anything drastic. It looks like most of these are just small annotations.
I think you're right. That's why I was concerned about how we were going to make a big segment on this, because it looked like a lot of words changing. But just formalizing a lot of things, like everything's printable. Yeah. These are the card pool. These are the formats. So I am happy to see all these. I mean, it's just like every section was updated with something. So someone went through this with a comb. It looks like Stonsby went through this all the way through. So glad to see that. And that's brilliant. So good work. I'm glad we have a big document that we can use.
Yeah, that'll be handy.
What happened to errata?
Not a huge. Well, so okay. 2 errata was just like a no-brainer. Like that was a card that everybody looked at and went, "Well, that's broken." But bureaucracy being bureaucracy, was like, well, we have to see how many people notice it's broken and how broken it is before we declare it broken and then try to fix it. Whatever. It's 2E. The whole game is broken. The 1E side is interesting because without an errata, a card has come back with no changes and been reinstated. And I don't know that I necessarily disagree with it. Black Hole, because of the changes in the meta surrounding it since its inception and inherent brokenness, you can't have a space line full of space anymore. So you can't put it anywhere you want.
Yep.
You can't, that's very difficult to get. I mean, you could always choose tent, I guess, or just have a super, one of those super Masaka, 30 card deck and draw the whole thing, cycle through the whole thing until you get it, play it first turn. But even if you do, as the article noted, it doesn't get to anything till your third turn. It's not going to suck up the first space till your third turn. It's not going to suck up the next space till your fifth turn. And so it's not going to get a real mission until turn 7.
Yeah.
At which point, in the current meta, like the game is like half over, 2/3 over maybe. So, we'll see. We've had some significantly longer games than that in some of our local play, but I also don't know how conducive decks like that would be to playing Black Hole. So,
Yeah, that'd be interesting to
you
see.
see it, you know where it is. You're
Yeah.
not going to be next to it. It's not like it can be anywhere in the space line this time. So, all right, well, I'm not going to do that mission that's right next to Black Hole on the off chance the game lasts long enough for it to get sucked up. Or, start stalking Revolving Door. Isn't that legal now? Does that close the doorway?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not thrilled with it. I never really liked the card, but it's not the super cheese it once was.
Okay, so, geez, the the only thing is it didn't come back with any errata, so we didn't get a new card version image of it. So when you said Black Hole, I'm like, oh yeah, Black Hole.
Oh, yeah.
The errata file, looking through the errata file, I'm like,
oh, you're looking in the wrong place.
I'm digging in the wrong place. There was nothing there.
Well, if you looked at the errata article,
the article, yeah, that's you're right. That's where I saw it the first time.
The 1E article has a link to the cards that it erratas, so you can read them. Unlike the 2E article, which links to almost a dozen different cards as it talks about why it got errated, but doesn't link to the actual card that got errated. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. I guess you can right click and then copy and search Google. Anyway, that's not gonna happen. All right. Well, anyway.
More effort than I'm going to give out for 2E.
Speaking of 2E.
Yes, you played in a game, right? Or no, there was a game?
No.
You're thinking of a game?
Saturday.
Saturday, there's going to be a game.
There is.
Oh, you're talking about this Saturday, not last. Yeah. I'm kind of bummed about that. I missed. I try to at least make it out to the major events when we can have them, but it's the same weekend as WonderCon, and we have a 2 3/4-year-old who has been promised 3 different sets of costumes already, and is really looking forward to them. So
that's going to be awesome.
Yeah,
that's going to be a lot of fun, man. They're going to have a good time. We are taking over Johnny's house on Saturday. We're starting at 10 a.m. and 9:45, 10 a.m. I think the official start for the Silver Tin draft is at 10:15.
Nice.
And we're going to pretty much spend most of the day drafting and playing 1E. Johnny's already printed out the version 2.0 starters for TNG, a couple of each. We've got the tin outside. I got 9 pocket pages. I'm going to load it up. I'm going to replace any card that's on the ban list with something else from a virtual set that's either similar or just something I think is interesting. And I'm going to replace all the errated cards with the errated versions. So what you see is what you get.
Man, fantastic.
No hidden cards. Nothing crazy. But it should be fun. We'll draft them up. I think we're going to draft until, what did I say, 75% or 80% of the cards have been drafted, and then we'll stop. So there'll be a bunch of cards left over, but those will be dregs nobody wants anyway. And then we'll play 4 rounds. There's going to be plenty of people there, so we'll play 4 rounds, and then we're going to stop for lunch. We're going to have some tacos brought in. We'll have, we're going to have a break for dinner after we're done, and then play tribbles for an hour. We'll just do 1 round. Top scorer, gets the play mat, and then we're going to start up. And then we're going to start up a 2E tournament.
I saw your schedule email, and I was like, breaking for triples at 6 and then having 2E afterward? Like, that is a big day. That's like Phoenix tournament. Big day.
It's kind of like Phoenix tournament, and it's early enough in the year that I'm almost tempted to call it that, but it's going to be good. It's going to be a good time. We'll play because the folks coming in from out of town wanted to play 2E. We couldn't play multiple days, so or flying out on Sunday. So we're squishing everything together. I'm going to bring one of these decks behind me here. It's not going to be good because it's going to be a couple of years old. Whatever, that's fine. I'll have a good time. And make sure nothing's ever been errated. Yeah. But it should be good fun. And I'm looking to knock somebody out. I'm not looking to win the tournament. That's how I played it last time. I played it in a big event. That was fun. We've got all the awesome board promos that look just brilliant in the holofoil. Those board play mats are divine. So we'll give away at least 3 of those, and everyone gets a button. So little Borg button. What more could you ask for? I gotta stop and bring some bagels. We're gonna bring pizza after lunch or after dinner or for dinner, and yeah, it should be a good time. There should be just a ton of people running around Johnny's house. Should be
awesome. Well, we will have definitely many things to talk about next week. Then look forward to a report on that. If you're going to be in San Diego, contact us or Johnny. I'm pretty sure Johnny is listed as tournament director, or is it still JD? Dan. So
yeah, I'm running these tournaments, so I'll likely, if we have an odd number of people for 2E, I'll probably just sit out and watch and make rulings. Probably correct. Probably not. But I'll definitely take part in the draft and the tribbles, because that doesn't take a lot of. There's enough 1E players who know the rules that I can have someone else make a ruling in my game, and in tribbles, if you're not playing, you're not having a good time. So
perfect.
Yep.
Well, it sounds like a great time. I'm bummed that I'm going to miss it, but I will continue to hone my deck ideas for regionals coming up later in the season.
That's right. It'll be like 2-3 weeks after that.
Yeah, I think so. I want to say,
and that's Saturday that I'm going to be out. I think I'll be there in the morning. So depending on how early it is, I might stop by on my way out of town. But other than that, I'm not going to make that. So you'll have to give me a report on that one. Yeah.
All right. Well, I will make a point of doing that then.
And I've got 2 or 3 decks that are in my head that I was really hoping to get to play, but I don't know when I'm going to be able to do 1E Construct again. Maybe Gen Con.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that sounds like a lot of intelligence to prepare for this week. That's all that we have on the television show front and the game front. In the meantime, I am Sir Rogue.
And I'm Sir Dan.
And I will remind you all to expand your power in the masters of the universe.
And I'm going to pick up a dozen bagels to end.